Honestly, this aggressive eating he's doing is a pretty good comedic way to re-establish his anger from last episode that was also set up pretty well then, as it's sticking pretty well with his character while showing the change.
I'm sure you'll work it out today.
Is this supposed to be foreshadowing, in which case this is terrible foreshadowing because it's just telling you what's going to happen? And if this is sympathy, it kind of works, but also kind of not, because it sounds a bit patronizing to him. And if this is supposed to be something else, I don't really gather what it is. So overall, this just isn't a very good line.
The buns!
Hi, Valt.
Cereal!
Hello.
And here?
It is pretty cool for them to show this gag of the fact that the reason he's eating so aggressively isn't just because he's angry, but because he sees Waki everywhere, which is a cool way to show how much is getting to his head.
Valt. Hey, Valt. Don't ignore me, Valt.
As well, this chorus of Waki is fucking hilarious. And again, it really does emphasize pretty well how messed up Valt is.
I'll show you sad but true.
Love the delivery here, and I'm willing to give the show the benefit of the doubt that the fact that him saying I'll show you sad but true is ironic is intentional on their part, as in to show how messed up he is.
He called it an experiment. That's like a total insult, you know?
I also do like this subtle callback to how annoyed Valt got at Daigo bursting Valtryek, because it shows that he doesn't really like people using his bay in a way that he doesn't consider conventional, or at least on his standard of what should be done with it, which is good for showing their bond.
Don't forget, blading is supposed to be fun.
Cool to have Ken and others repeat this throughout the episode, and each time Valt has a slightly different reaction to show that he's getting closer and closer to learning it, which is good for showing the arc.
I can't believe I let him get to me!
What's up?
Even Honcho looks like him now!
I do think this is also a good contrast that they do with Daigo, where Valt didn't quite understand that Daigo was just messing with him, but here he gets it, but Wakia gets under his skin so much that he can't help himself, which is, again, good for showing the difference between what Daigo did to him and what Wakia does here.
Guys, who wants to battle me first? I have to train with more focus than ever, because if not, I won't be able to beat Wakia!
I love the fact that this is similar to his usual training request, but the fact that all he's saying here is he wants to do it so he can beat someone, which helps emphasize his fixation on Wakia and why Brantara reacts the way he does, since at this point it makes the others seem more like his training partners than friends.
You do realize I have a life, right? Is the big club here just to help you practice?
Not only is this line pretty good in the context of this episode for setting up Valt's arc and setting up what he's struggling with here, but also it's cool that they even set this perspective up in episode 7 with the fact that Rantaro commented on the fact that Valt was being ungrateful about how he was spending his time with him. So cool how this didn't even come out of nowhere.
Wakia's never taken us seriously. Think about it. He's always being mean and showing off. Valtryek, you'll help me take him down, right?
It's also cool how Valt isn't presented as like a total idiot here, because the argument he makes, while it isn't perfect obviously, because he's intended to be wrong, is still certainly not wrong. After all, Wakia was shown to be pretty dismissive of their club. And also it's cool how he's talking to Valtryek here, but it's clear not in the usual partnerly way, as there's no shine. Also, this montage of failed launches is really cool for really setting up a payoff for episode 11 where Valt finally does get a good flash launch off. Again, wish they did that for every one of his moves, but we'll get there.
I don't know how to explain it, but he's not so overly enthusiastic that it makes me feel sick anymore.
I mean, it is different, but the way he cites isn't quite accurate because he is still pretty enthusiastic. He's just enthusiastic about beating Wakia rather than about the game. And again, overly enthusiastic that it makes me feel sick could mean that, but I mean, overly enthusiastic can mean a lot of things, so they probably should have made it more specific.
Here's the thing, he takes what you think seriously, so maybe you could ask him what's happened to the Valt we know.
I do think this is a good moment though, since again, it really does emphasize Shu and Valt's relationship, but also it's a good interaction between Rantara and Shu, two characters who haven't really had much going on these past few episodes.
Hold on, if you're just gonna give in, then...
Who said I'm giving in?
Not only did Adrian absolutely nail this delivery, but this is a really good moment from Shu in the fact that you can see his more logical side in the line before, but then it's very clear that he cares about Valt that much that he doesn't really let it stand in his way.
Okay, let me ask you something.
Yeah, what?
When you say the Valt we know, what do you mean?
Over the top. In a good way.
Also, this is a good moment between them in the fact that this is showing what Valt actually means to Rantaro after this time, and the fact that even though he complains about how over the top Valt is, it's cool that here we get to see that he enjoys it anyway.
But seriously, what could be better for relaxing than doing the one thing you love?
You guessed it! To the main stadium!
I do think this is a good idea from those two to try and get him back into shape, but they must recognize that putting him in this environment isn't the best idea considering how he's feeling, which is something that they pay off with him losing, so this is pretty good.
Let's get straight into some flash launch drills. Sound good?
If you're gonna be like that, we're not down.
I also like how Valt's still in drill mode, as in he doesn't quite got that they don't want to just help him practice by being training partners and want him to relax with a friendly battle. So it's cool the fact that they let them jump in with this, but that Valt not working it out does make some sense.
You can't forget it's a game! Now come on! What do you say to a friendly battle?
I also love how this is a contrast of what Wakia stated in episode 7, where he derided the other two members of his team for thinking of this only as a game, whereas Ken's trying to emphasize to Valt that he needs to think of it as just a game, which is cool for setting up their difference, which is paid off in their battle.
3, 2, 1!
Also, this aggressive way he launches is so good for showing the fact that he hasn't got over Wakia, even without the whole fact that they show him seeing Wakia on Ken. Ken bursting Valt here is good for a number of reasons. Firstly, Ken has actually never burst Valt, because Rantaro burst him solo and Daigo simultaneous burst him, but Ken has never burst him throughout the series, so it's good that he actually gets to here. But also, it's good for further setting up Valt's hatred of losing after his loss to Wakia, despite it just being a game, and therefore he shouldn't take losses that badly as he normally does. So the way he gets injured here is so stupid. Like, the fact that this little tweak is going to affect him for the rest of the season is freaking stupid as hell to me. But I read the manga to see if they came up with a better reason, but I don't really like the manga version much better of him getting his hand injured by Orochi in their battle, because I prefer what the show does with him being injured when he fights Orochi. So overall, neither version really nailed this.
Ask him how Valtryek's doing.
Cool that Shu, the one who understands Valt the best, understands how he would actually be able to get back to usual, in the fact that what he's doing right now is not paying attention to his bay.
Sorry, Valtryek. What do I have to do to win?
Again, cool how he's slowly getting back to it, because he apologizes to Valtryek for what he's doing, but you can tell what he's actually apologizing for is the fact that they lost, not what he's been doing before, and the fact that he says, what do we have to do to win? So he's still in the mindset.
But it's not really for matchups, because it's pretty small.
So I definitely like the idea of the stadium being very small, and the fact that it's definitely more of a fun match stadium. I tried to measure to see if there's a visual difference. It's incredibly hard because of all the close-up shots, but I think since Valt covers up a similar amount of distance on both, but in one he's clearly standing closer in the shot that I measured him against, I'm pretty sure it's smaller in the show, but of course, if someone else is better at this kind of thing, let me know.
Thanks, you were great!
Cool how Toko started doing Valt's signature thing of talking to his bae all the time, which is good for showing how they look up to him, but also good for showing why Valt actually gets back into it. Also, it's kind of a cute moment, the fact that Nika mimics Shu's launch form to show how much she idolizes him.
Valtryek, I wasn't paying enough attention to you.
Epic way to resolve the arc they've been building throughout the episode. And I love how, despite them dragging this on for a whole episode, it's just a lot better pace than the one they did in episode 2, because there's no regression, there's always progression, which is great.
Hey, mind if I play?
So this line is great for several reasons. Firstly, the fact that he's going to Blade against them is good for showing he doesn't have an ego. Secondly, the fact that he's going to Blade in the stadium shows he's clearly doing it to have fun. And 3, the fact he calls it play shows that he's actually seeing it as a game again. This line is just amazing.
I can't pretend I know what you're talking about.
How can you not? It's fairly obvious, is it not? He literally said he was seeing Wakia and everything this morning, and now he's saying the guy he kept hallucinating doesn't deserve his attention. His bae, which he's talked about a lot to you, so you should know what that is, deserves it instead. It's pretty obvious. I'd love to know how she can't work this out.
I've never seen you on time before.
Hey, I heard you saw the twins yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Valtryek's doing great.
So not only is this a good casual interaction to show their friendship, but also it's good for actually showing Shu's role in this, since obviously Valt brought the change on himself.
Wow, someone's in their happy place.
Also funny how they waited this long to bring back this happy dance, and they did a completely different one in episode 7. But I definitely think it works here, considering he's pumped up like he was in episode 2. And it is a good callback.
I can't play on my own. I need my partner. We combine our strengths and come up with the best moves. Just like the Bay Club, I have the best friends in the world, in the universe.
So I really do like this line, because it obviously sums up the arc, but it also sums up that he appreciates his friend's role in it, which is pretty good for showing that what they did actually had an impact. And of course, the red face and head explode is not only a gag they carry throughout the series, but the whole red face thing is a trait they give to Dante. More on that in several years, probably.
That's not it. I'm just trying out new things is all.
Right, but trying out new things does not rule out the possibility of a new move, my man. You could be trying out new things, and those new things could be a new move. I don't get what this is.
Great work, Valt. You're moving way better than yesterday, and Valtryek's back to normal.
So not only is this a good moment to show how Valt's change of mindset actually let him get back to normal, but also the theme that plays in this battle is one of my favorites in this season. Not my actual favorite, but definitely up there.
All right, let's do it!
We see this a bit throughout the season, but basically, because they use a bank animation for the avatar, occasionally the Bay will be out of position, because here Spryzen's halfway between the ridge and the center, but logically it shouldn't be there, because it's getting hit by rush launch, so it should be stuck in the center right now. But the fact that it's over there makes it seem like it's already in a counterattack, which the next shot shows it isn't. Also, this is an epic burst for showing their actual skill gap before the final, since it was only implied through his match with Ken, but just the fact that he dominates Valt here really does help set up the final as a much more intense match.
That's right, leave him wanting more.
But the rest of us wanted to fight him too.
Also, this is a great final moment to not only show more about showing the fact that he's not that keen to join them yet, but also to show that Rantaro isn't as ambitious as Daigo, which is always good for showing differences between this cast. Overall, this episode's really good. I wouldn't call it quite as good as episode 9, but still, it's got a lot of good stuff. Valt has a really well executed arc that carries throughout the episode, and they have a lot of good moments with Shu, Ken, Rantaro, and Daigo. So I've been hinting quite a lot about it throughout these episodes, but it's time for a lot of the stuff with Valt and Wakia to start getting resolved when we move on to their actual battle, starting with episode 11. See you then.